Hello and welcome to BoardgameNinja. We have always been curious about what's going on in the cockpit of a plane during landing. Every decision you make there can be your last, and you have only your co-pilot to support you. And that is exactly what Scorpion Masqué is offering in cardboard. All of the drama and excitement of landing a plane in this highly immersive board game, SkyTeam. The object of the game is obvious. Get the plane and its passengers safely on the ground and make sure you roll to a stop before the end of the runway. SkyTeam is a two-person game that takes around 20 minutes to play and is for pilots from 14 years and up. The two pilots work together to land the plane. One of you is the pilot. They sit on the side of the board with the blue spaces. The co-pilot sits on the side with the orange spaces. The pilot gets the blue screen and the blue dice, and the co-pilot the orange screen and the orange dice. Now, don't be fooled by the hierarchy in positions. The amount of responsibility in this game is the same for both players. The cockpit has a total of 10 lights. They should all be in the off position. The airplane access disc is placed in its slot with the airplane in a level position. Right underneath is the speed gauge. Place the blue marker between 4 and 5 and the orange marker between 8 and 9. Further down you find the brakes with a red brake marker on the left side. Place the altitude track on the top right position with the green and yellow side up. You start at 6,000 feet. 2 reroll tokens are placed next to 6,000 feet and 2,000 feet. Place the approach track on the top left position. The game recommends that you try to land on Montreal Airport the first time you play. Later on you will land on other and more difficult airports. You start in the clouds. Place a plane token for every small plane icon on the track. Put the coffee tokens next to the board. Everything is set. You are ready to start playing. Every round has 3 phases. In the first phase you discuss what to do this round and then roll the dice behind your screen, out of sight of the other player. In the second phase you place your dice and deal with the consequences. In the third phase you decrease your altitude. If you haven't crashed yet, it is time for a new round. Now this is important. During the second phase, from the moment you roll your dice, you are not allowed to speak with each other, so you don't know which dice the other has rolled. Check the altitude track. This arrow indicates which pilot goes first. Take a die from your pool and place it on the board. Blue dice can only be played on blue spaces and orange dice only on orange spaces. The coffee spaces have both colors and can accommodate both dice. You keep playing dice alternately until all 8 dice are on the board. You can place your dice where you like, but 4 spaces are mandatory to fill every round. Let's see where the dice go and what they mean. 1. The axis. These spaces are mandatory, 1 for each side. As soon as the second die is placed, you compare the numbers. If they have the same number, nothing happens and the airplane stays at the same level. If one number is higher, turn the plane as many marks as the difference between the 2 numbers, towards the player with the higher number. In our example, we rotate 2 marks in the direction of the pilot. If the mark comes to a red cross, the plane goes into a spin and you lose the game. Also worth noting, when your plane lands at the airport, the wing should be level in order to win. 2. The engines. These are also mandatory. As soon as the second die is placed, you add them up. Compare the total with the markers on the speed gauge. If your total is to the left of the blue marker, the approach track stays where it is. If your total is between the blue and the orange marker, the track moves 1 space down. If you put a lot of power in the engines and the total is higher than the orange marker, the approach track even moves 2 spaces down. If the airport is in the current position and you have to advance the approach track, you have overshot your approach, missed the airport and lost the game. The white planes on the track represent other incoming traffic. As long as they are ahead of you, no problem. But when you have to move the approach track while there is still a plane on the current space, you collide with this plane and the game is lost. 3. Radio. So how to clear the skies ahead of you of other traffic? Check in with the traffic control tower. When you place a die on one of these spaces, you can remove a plane. For instance, if you put a 2 down, you remove a plane from the 2nd space. A 4 removes a plane from the 4th space. Per round you can remove a maximum of 3 planes. 4. Landing gear. The pilot oversees lowering the landing gear. If the pilot places a 1 or 2 in the top space, the gear lowers. Move the blue marker 1 space to the right on the speed gauge. Slide the switch to the green light to show that this part is activated. These spaces do not have to be filled in order, but they should all show a green light in order to land. When you land, all parts of the landing gear must be activated or else the plane crashes on the landing strip. 5. Flaps. The co-pilot oversees the extension of the flaps. Same as with the landing gear, all boxes should show a green light when landing, but the flaps can only be extended in order, so from top to bottom. When you activate a box, also move the orange marker 1 space to the right on the speed gauge. Needless to say, when the flaps are not fully extended during touchdown, the plane crashes. 6. Ground brakes. The brakes can only be operated by the pilot and should be filled in order. In the final round, the plane has to come to a standstill to win the game. You can prepare the brakes in the rounds before that. In order to brake, you add up both engine dice and the total must be lower than the number to the left of the red brake marker. If you didn't pay attention to the brakes beforehand, your marker is too far to the left and it will be much harder to pull the brakes. Even one deployment of the brakes requires a double 1 to brake. Maybe it is better to prepare the brakes a little further, so you can brake with a total of 6. 7. Concentration. If you have dice to spare, you can buy yourself a coffee. Place it on the board, ready to use when you need it. Every coffee you use gives you a plus or minus 1 on your dice. You can use multiple coffees on one die. One more thing. On the altitude tracker there are re-roll markers. They become available as you descend. You can use a re-roll marker to re-roll any number of dice. The third phase is short. Descend the plane 1 space by sliding the altitude track down. Take your dice and start a new round. The final round begins when the plane touches the ground. If you touch the ground while the airport is still 1 or more spaces away, the plane didn't make the runway and you lose. If you reach the airport but the plane is still in the air, you must try to establish a holding pattern by not advancing the plane but only descending. Check the victory conditions. Are there no airplane tokens on the airport? Do all your flaps and landing gear switches show green light? Does your plane fly horizontally and is your speed less than your brakes? Congratulations, you made it! You just landed your first plane. Of course, this is just the beginning. There are other airports in the box that are harder to land because of busier traffic, shorter approaches, mountains and slippery runways. There are also extra modules that will have you keep your eye on fuel levels, make you deal with windy conditions, or require you to train a nervous intern while landing the plane. If you have nerves of steel, try playing in real time or deal with a fuel leak mid-flight. This concludes the rules for SkyTeam. We have enjoyed the frantic but quiet scrambling that is necessary to put a plane safely on the ground. The cockpit feels real at times, at least real enough that you are prepared to do anything to make sure that the plane won't crash. It pushes your buttons while you push back. Subscribe to our channel for more clear and concise game explanations, and we hope to see you for the next one. Bye!